I started really watching pitchers and stuff too. Like obviously huge DeGrom fan. Verlander, Scherzer, just those guys. Watch those guys compete for sure. Has definitely been very very big for me, and coming up for sure.
All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of the Show We Go Baseball podcast. Today's episode, we're actually dipping back into the Minnesota Twin system. We had CJ Culpepper on just a week ago, and obviously great hair, great guy, good person all around. And so we're dipping back into the system here. Today's episode, we got Andrew Morris. Andrew was actually played across 3 different levels this year in Minnesota system, which I will get into in a little bit. But Andrew, I always like to kind of start these off. I know you said off air that you were back home, but how has your off season been treating you, and what kind of things have you been up to?
It's been great. I mean, I've just been training pretty much, and then on my off days playing a lot of golf. So that's how I've been spending my time, and then traveling to see family and stuff like that. So it's been pretty chill, but definitely getting after it and get ready for the season.
I will ask you about the golf game a little later on in the episode, which I'm sure you're eager to talk about. So
of course.
We'll get to the good stuff. I gotta start with the boring stuff, the baseball stuff, the everything on the field from this year. You actually had a very good year in 2024. You got promoted twice, so you started in high A and ended up in AAA. Now that you've kind of had a little bit of time to decompress and get into your off season, have you taken a look back and seen what you did was pretty impressive?
I mean, yeah, it was definitely a good year for sure. It definitely was, what I hoped to accomplish for sure. But in all honesty, I really tried, I felt like I was kind of chasing Zebby the whole year. Which is kind of what it felt like, but which is great. I mean, he had a heck of a year too, for sure, obviously. But I think it was a lot of fun, and I accomplished what I wanted to. And feel like I set myself up pretty good for next year, for sure.
Did you ever think once you got to AAA that you were one call away from the majors? Did that even set in on you?
I mean, it did, especially because Debbie was my roommate, and I got to hear, every day he comes back and talk about how it is, and I was obviously picking his brain about how everything is up there, and it was just, it was cool. Obviously, I tried not to think about it too much, but just, kind of be aware of it and realize that, it kind of was a phone call away. And then after a couple of weeks, I was like, okay, you can't keep thinking about that. You just kind of be where your feet are and settle in. But it's hard not to think about that, I guess, so yeah.
So take me through it then. You obviously start this year in high A and you get promoted up to double A, and you didn't skip a beat at all. Were you surprised to get another call? Like, I guess take me through it. Like, so when you got called up to double A, was it something you were expecting? Was it anything like out of the blue, or did you kind of have a feeling it was going to happen?
Yeah, I'd say the call up to double A, I was definitely feeling very ready for it. I knew why I was back. I knew that I need to get the strikeout numbers up. I knew, and it was great because I love the staff there. I love Jonas and Angulo. Like, it was a lot of fun to work with them again. I love those guys a lot. Pumped for Jonas. She's going to be in double A, but I'm really excited. I was really excited to work with them again. And then also, kind of give me time to just work on stuff. So that was kind of what it was. So I was okay with it. Obviously, I was a little bit frustrated at first. I hoped to be, start in Wichita. But then I kind of realized, it's time to just work on stuff. And then the call up was exciting, but it didn't feel anything compared to like the call up to AAA. That one definitely felt very rewarding for sure.
And let's talk about AAA. I spent quite a bit of time in AAA clubhouses and I guess around the fields this year, around the league. And I always would ask guys like a thing, like especially pitchers that had just gotten called up in the middle of the year and they had like a little smaller sample size with the ABS. What were your first thoughts on that?
What I really noticed was how well guys knew the zone because of that. I think there was like the takes and the plate discipline were incredible. Honestly, I think that was the biggest thing I noticed. It was, and the umpires were a lot better because they had immediate accountability, which I thought was really interesting, which I kind of experienced a little bit in the Florida State League my first year. But, with the combination of, very mature hitters and then, the zone being smaller and that stuff, it was it was definitely a good challenge for sure. I know it's hard to get outs inside the zone, and that was kind of the goal. So it definitely made it a little tougher, but it really showed how well disciplined those hitters are for sure.
And I know you kind of mentioned some of the things that you were working on this year, trying to miss more bats and things like that. And, I was reading a scouting report on you on Baseball America, and I think MLB.com as well had something on you. But it was one of the things where you really ticked up your velocity coming into this year. I think you're topping out, it's at around 97-ish. And then you improved your slider. What kind of things did you do last offseason to kind of prep you for 2024 and have the year that you had?
Well, it's funny. I don't think Baseball America likes me very much. I don't know. That's just my feeling.
I think I know what you're talking about, but
but it's okay. I try not to read into all that stuff too much because it's their opinion. Doesn't even really matter anyway. But
yeah.
But I mean, really, this season it was just trusting it more. I think the slider last year was a lot shorter, and it was like 87 to 89. It was really firm, more gyro-y. And then we kind of transitioned to a cutter this year. And so the cutter had a lot more vert to it between the fastball and the slider. And that really helped the slider play a lot more, I think. And so especially to lefties, being able to go in and up and in with the cutter kind of opened up the slider, as well as, having a different look to righties as well. And so, I mean, even this year, I'm adding a sinker. So I'm super excited about that because I know that I needed something to go into righties. I have the changeup, but I'm also been working on refining the changeup movement as well. But I had that, but then, I feel like I need something hard in and just off my fastball, since it's more of a little cut carry. Anything with run is going to play really well. So I'm super excited about this for the upcoming year to really get to refine that a lot more. I think it'll be a big help.
So I am curious too. I'm not too sure about the Twins and their pitching development and what kind of things they do, but I know some other teams around the league and how they want their pitchers to throw, and they will teach all of their pitchers. Like, for example, the team across Fort Myers from you guys, the Red Sox will have all their pitchers want to throw a sweeper. They always want their guys to have sweepers. It's like I don't know. I feel like every single guy that gets drafted, it's like, hey, you're about to learn a sweeper.
Yep.
And they do. So
Yankees are the same way. It's funny like that. Yeah.
So is there anything in the Twins, like, have they ever like had a pitch for you guys, or like how hands-on are they about your arsenal?
It's definitely, I would say that's probably the biggest thing that we refine and have refined since, getting drafted. I mean, we're always constantly trying to adjust and trying to figure out what'll work the best. I mean, I had a sinker coming in, but they banged that because didn't really play with my profile, being north-south guy and all. But I think we've now, like, they kind of saw that with like Hunter Brown added a sinker this year. He's a very north-south profile, very similar profile to Verlander as well. And so am I. So it's like adding that gave him another element. And so I think they're really good at adjusting that. And they haven't really had one like main pitch. We always joke about it. It's like each year it's a different pitch. They're like pushing, like it was one year, it was a sweeper. Next year it was a splitter. And then I don't know what it's going to be this year, but we'll see. But it is funny because it is every year there's something different that they want us to do for sure, which is always good. And we'll see if it works for us. But, it is funny.
All right. I apologize in advance for this next question because I know it's the year 2024 and it's about to be 2025. This is a very outdated stat, and I know fans get all riled up about it, but I'm going to ask an ERA question. I don't care. I know that it's not looked at the same way it used to be looked at. I get that. I get it. But looking at your career ERA in the minors, I know it's not the end all be all that, but it's 2.56 for your 3 years in the minors, which is pretty freaking impressive if you ask me. I mean, if at the end of the day, it doesn't paint the whole picture, but it proves that you get outs. And have you like thought about that? I mean, even though it's outdated and I know like it doesn't mean the same that it used to, but have you ever thought about like, okay, like that's actually pretty cool that I have this low of an ERA?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a cool stat. It's cool to, like, I don't know, it can be kind of flashy at times when it's low, which is, I don't know, it's cool. But at the same time, I think for me, it really boils down to, like, I don't want to let guys score. So like when the guys are on base, like I'm doing everything I can to make sure that they don't score. And everybody who knows me knows that I'm competing as much as possible at all times. Like I'm the ultimate competitor, and that's just I pride myself on winning and not allowing guys to score. And so in that way, I don't think it's that outdated because that can really show like, obviously it can go the other way in terms of, guys score, but you really, little bloopers, stuff like this, run scoring, stuff like that. So that's why, FIP comes into play, which is definitely a good stat too, for sure. And that's, that's what our org really looks at. And I think that's a good controllable stat for sure, because lots of stuff is not really in our control. But I think at the same time, kind of ERA can be, in which you're not letting guys score. You're not letting guys, even they are getting on base, you're getting them a single, okay, whatever, that's fine. They're not going to score. So it doesn't matter how you get outs if you get outs.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I apologize. Like I know some people are very anti ERA. I know some, the old school guys are very pro ERA. Like,
Yeah.
I used to be a very pro whip guy, but now it's FIP. Like I don't know. I feel like it's always changing, man. You just always got to keep up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn the attention here. You got spring training starting in just a couple short months. I think we're like, oh my gosh, we're about like 2 months away from spring training starting.
Yeah.
Which is a little crazy.
Yeah.
How excited are you for 2025 spring training? I think it's going to be the most important spring training for you so far. Obviously, you getting up to AAA last year and really getting on the radar. So what are you most excited for this upcoming spring training?
Yeah, I definitely know it's going to be a big spring training for sure. I haven't heard anything yet on where I'll be. So I'm definitely, obviously I have my hopes on what I want to be doing, but yeah, but we've talked about, I've talked to the coordinators, before the dead period and stuff like that, before all that, and figure out what the goals are and just what I need to work on. So yeah, I'm excited to go in there and compete, and I feel like I'm, ready to go. So
I don't want to guesstimate or like assume anything or any of that, but let's just say there's a scenario where you do receive an NRI and you get to be in big league camp for a little bit. What would that mean to you, getting something like that and just being able to be around the big leaguers there?
yeah, it would mean a lot, obviously, just to get to learn from them, in any aspect, I think would be really cool. Just to be there and I mean get to know people up there. So, hopefully when, at some point when I get up there that they, it's not the first time they ever meet me. So that would be nice. Just to get a little more comfortable and really just see how they go about their business as well. So
All right, I got one question left here before I shoot to some life before pro ball questions. But you
yeah.
obviously threw out earlier. I gotta follow up on it. You said you were roommates with Zebby this year.
Mhm.
Obviously, a fantastic arm to watch.
Yeah.
What kind of things have you taken from him? Like, have you picked his brain at all? And what kind of advice has he given you if you've asked for it?
I mean, we kind of just, I don't know, we've always kind of been just a very similar mindset about I mean, for the most part, I think sometimes he goes there and tries to throw it as hard as possible. I think I'm a little bit more, I don't really care how hard I throw it as long as I'm getting outs, but which is just, it's funny. But obviously, he had a great year, and it was really fun to see how he approached hitters. So it's fun to talk, that stuff with him. At the short time that we were, together in CR and then in Wichita, and then obviously it was cool to get to hear about how his experience was up there and how it was, it was cool to get to see the scouting reports for, for the Royals, like in his first outing. Like we were talking through it, he was showing me Bobby Witt, and it's just lit up in red everywhere. And I'm like, geez, dude, that's what you got to face. And obviously that was his first K, which was incredible. But it was just funny. He's like, it was really cool to see his mindset going into that game. And he's like, I don't care if I give up 20 runs. Like, I'm just happy to be there. And I'm like, that's cool, because that first one is tough, and he did really, really well, and so it's just cool to kind of, I guess, watch from the outside and see, and then also pick his brain on what's going on in his head too. So it's been really fun to watch him and get to be his teammate and be his throwing partner too. So it's been fun.
I think the Twins have such a unique setup for their AAA team being in St. Paul. Like you're
Yeah.
so close to the Major League Park and you're right in the heart of Twins country. Did you get to experience any of that at all? And what were your thoughts of I guess being in St. Paul and just being like actually in Twins country?
I mean, it was sweet to be in St. Paul. I like St. Paul a lot. Minnesota was great. A lot of good golf there. It's really pretty in the summer and September. Um, I really, I obviously the attendance of the games was like incredible. Like the games in itself and the fans and everybody was. It's kind of a circus there, but it's a lot of fun. So I really liked it, and it seems like there was a lot of passion for the team. So it was cool.
Yeah, it's they have a very good setup with having the AAA team that close to the parent city, I think, and I think there's
Yeah,
very few organizations that have that luxury of being that close, and I think they draw so much better fan wise. So
for sure.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm shooting to a new segment here, life before pro ball, because that's why I started this at the end of the day. Is we could look up all of those numbers, stats, and things on Google, but you can't look up some of this stuff. I couldn't find it, so that's why I'm going to ask it to you.
That's good.
First question here. It's a pretty easy question. Who got you into baseball?
I think as long as I can remember, my mom always tells me about me hitting cherry seeds at the river with the wooden spoon, and like always just throwing stuff. And I was just always, as long as I can remember, just playing wiffle ball at the park and stuff. So I think my mom and my dad really got me into it. It was something I always had a passion for, and I don't know. It's never really gone away. It's just been the same.
Were you strictly baseball, or what else did you play?
I was never really big enough to play like football or basketball or anything like that. Especially, as once I skipped second grade, I was a lot younger than everybody else. So it was, I was definitely a lot less mature. So it was only baseball, because that's the cool part about baseball. You don't have to be the biggest. You don't have to be the oldest. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I feel like basketball and football, those things matter quite a bit. So
Yeah.
I guess that's a really good point there. I did read something. You have four siblings,
Yep.
and you're the oldest.
Yep.
So growing up, what was it like being, I guess, the oldest sibling? Was it as good as it sounds, or was it like, man, my other siblings are the favorites and I'm just the older one?
It was kind of an interesting situation because they're all half brothers, and so I was kind of at my mom's place. It was kind of like I was an only child, and so then also at my dad's, it's like I have all these siblings and all my brothers, and it's really cool because I think they all try to follow in the footsteps, which is really cool, and I try to help them in the best way possible. But yeah, I don't know. I just never really. It's just been a little weird because I was always the only child, and then I go there and it's like there's all these kids, and then that was definitely a little weird for sure. But yeah, I love my brothers. So
I feel your pain. I have two half brothers, and I have a 12-year age difference on my youngest half brother, and I have a
oh wow,
10-year on the other one. So it's like you said, it's like, I have me and my sister, and then it's like, okay, we were kind of like, the two going through it. And then it's like,
yeah,
okay, now I got a half brother on each side. So
for sure.
I totally get what you're saying. It's just
Yeah,
like, but it's been cool though. It's like we all get along like we've been siblings. I mean, we almost have our whole life, but
yeah, for
um,
sure.
okay, so you went to high school and middle school in Colorado, and Colorado's not really particularly known as a baseball player hotbed. I feel like I only hear about the Floridas, the Georgias, the Texas, the Californias, like heck, even New Jersey these days. I hear a lot of guys. What was the baseball scene like in Colorado?
I mean, I think we moved here because it's like there was the Rockies close, and I get to have that influence, and that stuff, and that's what my mom told me. And it's funny because it ended up working out really well because I ended up my only college offer out of high school was to go to Colorado Mesa, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's definitely not much of a baseball state, but there's definitely been a lot of good guys to come out of here for sure. And we just tried to pick the best program and go with that. And I'm, lucky enough to have a lot of great people, supporting me. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily very popular. It's like, it's hard to play in the spring. It's really cold until April really. And it's rainy and you can't practice outside most times. And it's definitely difficult for sure. Obviously the other states have a lot more of an advantage in the way they can play year round, but we do what we can.
For a guy who's never been to Colorado, like myself, or even somebody that might be listening to this, does the elevation really play a factor? Like, how like how much do you notice that whenever you leave and come back or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, so it definitely plays a factor in, I think, my conditioning. I definitely came into spring training like I didn't run a whole lot, but a little bit. And so thank goodness for the Colorado Air because we had to run a lot when we got spring training this last year. And it definitely it conditions you pretty well when you go to sea level. But when you go to sea level for a long time, you come back here, you definitely you notice it for sure. And but pitching wise, I think the cores effect kind of feels like a crutch, like an excuse, because I've pitched at elevation. I mean, all my life really. And then I go to Texas Tech, the elevation's high there. Pitched in Amarillo this year. Like no, the heater doesn't really carry as well, but it seemed to still play just as well. So I haven't really noticed anything there. I think everything still moves the same, but I think obviously if you're used to sea level and you come here, probably it's a little different, but
Yeah, I feel like that's like such a thing I hear like every year. It's like, oh, well, that guy only hits this many home runs because he plays in cores, or that guy only whatever. It's like, all right, well, I don't know. I was curious.
It's like an extra 10 feet, or whatever it is. I think in golf ball, it's like it can be, it can definitely go farther too. So, but it's not like it's just like otherworldly, just insane. It's really not that crazy.
Okay, well, now I'm gonna get you actually preluded to this earlier, but you started off at Colorado Mesa, and you had ended up saying that was your only offer out of high school.
Yeah.
What drew you to them? Obviously, I know that you had the offer, but what other things drew you to Colorado Mesa?
So yeah, it's a funny story because I was so I don't know if you know this about me. I graduated high school at 16, and I went to Colorado Mesa I started there at 16 for like the first month, and then I turned 17. So I was 17 my whole freshman year, but I was playing summer ball going into my senior year in the summer, so right after my junior year. And I didn't pitch at all my junior year or play at all. I was hurt, and I was playing summer ball, and the coach of CMU came to see his son play, and I happened to hit 2 oppo home runs. I was literally 15 years old, like 130 pounds, bro. I was tiny, and just happened to have a really, really good game. And he came to watch his son play, and then their coach talked to our coach, like, who's this kid? CMU head coach is over there. Like, what's the deal? And they told him, like, oh wow, he's that young. Oh my gosh, like, we should get him up here for a visit. And then they're like, hey, we want to offer you guarantee preferred walk on, you'll redshirt your first year. And that was as a hitter. They'd never seen me throw. And then once I got there, they saw me pitch, and I had a big velo jump. I went from 83 to topping out 91. And I was still 16 and literally a buck 40. I was tiny, bro. And then they saw me pitch, and then I didn't hit there anymore. They asked me if I want to do two-way. I'm like, no, I don't really see myself being able to compete with these guys for the next 3 years. But pitching, I definitely can. So, the rest is history. I threw 70 innings my freshman year. We went to the D2 College World Series, came in second, and it was wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. That kind of took me by surprise, because getting to college that young, I thought I wasn't even prepared when I was 18 going off to college, let alone being 16. It's crazy, man. I feel like that's definitely a rare story out there, and obviously it led you to where you are, and everything turned out a-okay. But yeah. I saw actually on the Colorado Mesa page, on your baseball page, you majored in psychology. I don't see that too often with baseball players. What made you land on it?
I mean, I just think just in general, the mental aspect of the game is so fascinating to me. And I think it's really the difference maker in general, I think. And so it's just something natural. I've always thought psychology is cool, sports psychology specifically, but I just thought it was a good major. Unfortunately, when I went to Tech, I had to change it to university studies because in order to actually have my credits transfer. But then I could still take psychology classes. But I think that's something I really pride myself on, is the mental side of the game. And I think it's been a difference maker considering how much adversity I've had. I think that's kind of, I don't know, what's kind of shaped me in a way.
That actually makes so much sense too. And whenever I had CJ Culpepper on here, he majored in kinesiology, and I was kind of asking him, I've never seen that before, on a baseball profile page at college. And he's just like, well, I wanted to know how my body works because I'm a pitcher. And I'm like, yeah, makes a ton of sense. So psychology makes a lot of sense to me too. This leads me now, you just brought it up, the road to Lubbock here. how did that come about? Obviously, Texas Tech is a beautiful campus, great program, a lot of MLB professional players around the league, a lot of success. So, what led you to Lubbock?
So I mean, I had some pretty good offers in the draft out of CMU, but I hope to, I had a really good last year at Mesa, and I hope to, kind of take the next step forward in some way. I think I knew I wasn't coming back no matter what, and if I didn't get my number in the draft, I was going to, I had entered the transfer portal previous to that before the draft, and then. Um, everybody just started calling me. It was kind of the recruiting process that I never had at a high school. So it was pretty cool to like, you feel that, I guess. Cause I never really got to experience that in high school at all. So, I mean, it felt like everybody calling me. I mean, I was between Tech, Oklahoma State, and then, UC Santa Barbara. And I would have played with Corey Lewis, which would have been funny. But yeah, I think, and I just decided, I thought, that was the best. I think they lost a lot of starters, a lot of guys transferred out, and I knew that the rotation was pretty open. So it was a great time in Lubbock for sure.
So I can't really speak on Colorado Mesa too much because I'm not as familiar with the program or their conference or like who they play and everything. But I am familiar with the Big 12, and obviously, Big 12 baseball is no joke. You got guys every year being drafted out of the Big 12, and what was it like facing that competition down there? And I guess going from Colorado Mesa's the competition in your conference and things down to the Big 12, and then facing some of those bigger schools. Did you notice an immediate jump? Like, what were your initial thoughts when you got down there?
I mean, it definitely felt different. It felt bigger, but I felt like I was ready for it. But yeah, I mean, facing those lineups, man, like Ivan Melendez and like, bro, the Oklahoma lineup, like, bro, they messed me up a couple times, pretty good. Like, that's the thing. I don't know. I mechanically, I was not close to my best there. I look back at that film and it just looks so ugly, and that's one thing I definitely really regret. Um, and I wish that would have been a lot better for sure. Because in the fall, I think, against the Rangers instructional league team, which was Rangers ACL team. I was hitting like 6 to 7, and then in the spring, for the most part, I was like 2 to 4, and that just really bothered me. I think I got too big. I tried to put on weight. They told me to put on weight. I put on weight, and I just couldn't move it as quick. It just simply put, like, I'm not a guy who needs to be big. And so it was important to learn that for myself, and I think it probably cut some time off my ETA for sure, to get to do that and have those experiences and face those better lineups and get hit around a little bit for sure. So
Yeah, it's I always see people kind of talk about it too when the MLB draft rolls around. It's like, oh, this guy, played in the SEC, or this guy played ACC, Big 12, whatever it is. And it's like the level of competition this guy had compared to this guy over here was like way better. But at the end of the day, it's like your time at Colorado Mesa prepped you so much for that stage there to obviously get you drafted in the 4th round. So I'm always I always find it fascinating, like with guys that go from like a smaller place to a bigger place, and just kind of see like, okay, like was it hard for you to adjust or anything like that? But that's good to hear.
yeah,
I'm shooting to another segment here. It's a little more off the field. I like to call it beyond the box score a little bit. It's just a little things on like what you do off the field. So obviously the minor league schedule is a little bit of a grind, and you have 6 games a week. What do you do in your free time? What do you do on your day off? And then I guess in the off season, like what kind of things are you up to off the field when you're not training?
really, this year, man, it's mostly been golf, bro. Like, I just started playing after Christmas last year, so it's been about a year now. And I've been very addicted to golf. So I pretty much, I mean, every single day before start this year I played, and then that's including all the other days during the week I played too. So a lot of days during the week. I mean, there was some really good golf in Wichita. I mean, not too far away. Sand Creek Station's like 30 minutes away, $40, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. It was like I would play there all the time. And then we had free golf there. We also had in CR, there's a place they'd give it to Colonel's players for $20. And then in St. Paul, we had a place we go for free too. So it was like everywhere. It's been pretty cool. So that's kind of what I've done. Got to play a lot of cool places, get to play on the road too. So I don't know. That's kind of been what I've been doing off season too. It's a little cold here now though, so it's been a little rough, but I still been getting out there.
Did I just uncover baseball superstition there? You said you play golf every day you start?
Every day before I start.
Every day before.
Not on the
So
day of, every day before. But yes, it was superstitious for sure. It was definitely, absolutely, yeah.
so that's something that you're going to do until like 2025 as well. Like you got to start the day before.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to go golf the day before your start.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For
Okay.
sure. Yeah, I'll bring the clubs on the road and like whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. So if it worked well this year, I don't think I missed one this year. So
I'm going to be honest with you. When I do ask that what do you do in the free time? I get two answers and two answers only. And one of them is golf and the other one's video games. So you're definitely, I feel like every single pitcher out there is golfing. I do have a question for you. I want to know what your thoughts are on this as a pitcher. I want to see what you think. I've had a couple position players on, obviously, this offseason, and the position players are telling me they're scared to golf. And they're scared to golf because they think it will mess with their swing. Do you think that would be true or false?
it would make sense, I guess, if you do it enough. But I don't know. I don't know. All the position players that I've golfed with, especially in Wichita, all their swings are very similar to their actual swings in golf, and the ball tends to go pretty far to the right. So I don't know. It probably would mess with you if you started grinding on it too much. But for them, it's like, bro, I can't imagine having to play every day. Like having to do it 6 days a week is, 5 6 days a week is a lot. I don't know. I get all my golf time in, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I was curious what a pitcher thought about it because I feel like the last like 3 or 4 position players I've on, they're like, no, I think it might mess with my grip or whatever it is, and it's like it makes sense, I guess. But
yeah, for sure, definitely. For me, it's been more of like it helps me take my mind off the game and then also really focus on the mental skills. Like, it's it's incredible how just in terms of like confidence and focus, like breathing techniques and all this stuff can really help me be better at golf. And then also it translates to the field too. I really do think it had a pretty big impact on me this year for sure. Instead of playing, I kind of switched out the video games for golf was really what happened.
so can you let us in on best club in the bag and worst club in the bag?
Oh, let's see.
Everybody's got the worst one.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been hitting my 3-wood real well, but I have a 4 hybrid that I love. It's definitely my favorite club. Just seems to go like a nice 240, usually straight. It's pretty great. But then, yeah, I love my driver too. So yeah, I don't know. I've been grinding. The scores have been getting a lot better, so it's been fun.
What are you sitting at these days?
I think my handicap's like a 6, so it's been good. I shot like a 75 a couple days ago, so it's been good. But then today I shot like 82. It was a tough course. It was a long one. It was a tough course, but it was fun.
6 handicap, man. You make it sound easier than it actually is. I'll tell you that. Okay, so not golf or maybe it is golf related, but next question here. If you weren't a baseball player, what would you be doing with your life?
Oh, that's an impossible question, I think. But honestly, I mean, right now, I'd be like, I'd try to go play, try to get on tour, man. I just grind it as long as possible, whatever it takes. But yeah, I don't know, man. There's never really been like a plan B or a second thought of what else I would do, around outside of baseball. So
at least you know what you want to do and you don't have any regrets about it. So that's actually a positive thing right there. So I know you moved around a little bit in your younger life here. Who were some of your favorite athletes growing up? They can be baseball or non-baseball, but who are some guys that you liked watching as you grew up?
yeah, so I was a huge Yankees fan. So I definitely idolized Derek Jeter a lot, and Babe Ruth for sure. And then as I got older, I started really watching pitchers and stuff too. Like obviously huge DeGrom fan, Verlander, Scherzer, just those guys, watching those guys compete for sure has definitely been very, very, very big for me and, coming up for sure.
Yeah, it always makes me, I just turned 30, so I'm not like super old, but I'm not like super young. And then when I hear some of you guys like say the players you were watching like growing up, and I was like, oh man, dude, that's that one's tough to swallow. Like with the DeGrom and everything, because they literally have all been pitching like in the past like 3 years. So
Yeah, I mean that one was a little bit as I got older, but still, in a very impactful part of my life for sure.
no, yeah, no, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Are you a food guy at all?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I appreciate my wife. She cooks for me a lot. I can't say I'm real good at making food, but she cooks for me a lot, does a lot for me.
Well, I guess I'll rephrase the question. Do you like eating food out?
Oh yeah, for sure, I do. I do.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, I got a Mount Rushmore question for you.
Okay.
I need your top 4 restaurant chains. They can be fast food or sit down.
Restaurant chains. Okay. Well, I'm gonna put Chick-fil-A's on there for sure. See, I'm trying to think of chains. Where did I used to go? I've really been trying not to eat fast food too much, honestly.
That's fair.
I've just been trying to eat, a lot of steaks and stuff. Dang. Let's see. Honestly, Taco Bell's on there for me. Taco Bell breakfast is absolutely goated. I don't know.
Wow.
Breakfast crunch wrap is, yeah, it's very good. Let's see. Dang, why am I'm blanking. I need 2 more.
There's some easy omissions here that I've gotten every single time I've asked this question.
Yeah.
We got like the Chipotle's of the world. We got the
dude. Yeah. Okay. Chipotle. Yeah. Chipotle's on there. Sorry. Okay. Give me a few more to pick from. I need one more. Let's see. I'm trying to think.
See what the second most popular answer is Texas Roadhouse. It's up there.
That's not really one. I think. Let's see.
I've gotten the home of the Triple Dipper quite a bit.
Oh, Chili's. Yes, Chili's is fire. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Okay, yeah, that's it. I say those are my 4. I'd probably, I driving down the road, I'd probably be like, oh, I forgot about those. There's a lot out there,
You'll notice it next time you're driving through the town
sure.
or whatever, and you're just like, man, I freaking love Applebee's or whatever the hell it is, right? But
yeah.
Okay, we're into the I have another segment here. It's the last one I like to do. I call it this or that because I'm going to give you 2 options and I would need you to pick it. Don't even think about it. I might ask for an explanation if I'm like, ooh, you might be in the minority on that one, but nothing too crazy here. Okay, first question. So you just got to pick which one you think you would prefer. Going on a tropical vacation or a European vacation?
Ooh. Tropical vacation.
Okay. Would you prefer summertime or fall time?
If it's a tropical vacation, probably fall because it's not going to be stupid hot.
It's a popular answer. I need sunflower seeds or bubble gum.
Ooh, sunflower seeds for sure.
Good man. This one has gotten more answers in the wrong way than I thought. Would you prefer a day game or a night game?
Ooh. That's hard. There's pros and cons to both. I mean, probably a night game. Yeah, probably night game so I can have my mornings. Yeah, day game it gets done just a little bit too late and then it's nighttime. It's pretty much nighttime already. So, yeah.
Okay. I've gotten mixed reviews on that.
And also day game sucks too because like in Wichita it's like 1,000 degrees and it's just disgusting. And then Florida same way too. Night game. Oh yeah, night game for sure.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess I was like, that everybody's like, oh, it depends where and all this, but it's like, okay, well, if you were playing a Sunday day game versus like a Tuesday night game, it's like, which one would you prefer? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Sundays are hard too. Sundays are always the day games too, and I feel like Sundays are always just a little tough. So
okay. This one it interests me a little bit. Would you rather what brings you more satisfaction, a strikeout or an inning-ending double play?
Those can be so equally satisfying because if you get an inning-ending double play, you are probably kind of in some trouble to begin with. So that one definitely. Man. I'd say inning double play is definitely more satisfactory because it's a little bit more rare. It's not, I don't know, and it's exciting, gets everybody hyped up too. Your boys got your back. So
I like it. I also agree with you. Um, Now this next one's gonna kind of go hand in hand with that one. What's more satisfying, striking a guy out with your fastball or your off speed?
I I think for me right now, it's like it would be more satisfying to strike him out with off speed because I feel like I had a lot more punchies on fastballs, and so it's like I know I can do that, but then I get really excited when it's I'd say off speed for sure. Much more
Okay.
excited when it's like I strike a guy with a changeup. I'm like, let's go, like that's electric. It's just a changeup, striking out with a changeup. For me, it feels pretty good, and slider too. And I mean anything, just like I fooled you, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I got one question left.
Yeah.
You giving me a ton of time here. I got in and on a food question here. Would you rather have a cheeseburger or a chicken sandwich?
Ooh, chicken sandwich.
That was easy. And I'm
Yeah.
guessing from Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I don't know. The honey pimento sandwich they had, the special, bro, that was just there's one time I went in there and they didn't have it, and legitimately I just turned around and walked out. Like I was mad. Like I was so upset. Like that's the best sandwich at Chick-fil-A by far. It's like when I go to Chipotle and they don't have vinaigrette and I just leave. It's the same thing.
I never got to try the pimento, and I never have had the vinaigrette from
Dude, the
Chipotle.
vinaigrette is life changing. It's life changing. Like just next time you go to Chipotle, just give it a shot and then think of me. But it's incredible. So it's
Okay. Maybe when I'm down in Fort Myers in the spring, maybe if there's got to be a Chipotle somewhere.
oh yeah.
But okay. Maybe I'll tag you in the Instagram and be like, this is for you. But all
For
right.
sure.
All right, Andrew. You give me a ton of your time. I appreciate so much hopping on. We're definitely looking forward to seeing you come spring training and whatever you're gonna do next year. And but thank you so much for hopping on.
Of course, bro. Thank you for having me. That was fun. It was fun to talk to you.